Well, before I met them, I had 3 diagnosed autoimmune diseases, lupus, Hashimoto's, and psoriasis. So I had traditional butterfly rash on my cheeks. I had a rash covering the entirety of my chest, and it would just come and go for years and years. And then I started experiencing, really bad immunity, so I got sick constantly. And as a teacher, I was exposed my first year to over, I'd say, 500 kids, because I taught elementary music. So I got sick every other week, and I had to go to work sick constantly, throwing up, just almost borderline pneumonia. I've broken ribs in the past from how bad I had a cough. And then come to find out, actually I think Dr. Mark is the one that found the Hashimoto's antibodies. So we discovered that my thyroid wasn't quite functioning as normal, so I was exhausted all the time. I wasn't eating very well. I'd say that we were trying to eat well. Maybe in the mornings we might do well with breakfast, and then lunch was kind of, it might either be cafeteria food or it might be just, he might bring me Chick-fil-A or, just a lot of processed junk food. And then dinners were almost always out to eat. So I didn't realize that my diet had caused all this. I was one of those people that thought you had to be born with it. You couldn't get rid of it. It was a forever thing. So that's what I was convinced of. I didn't, realize that I had done that to myself. I decided that I wanted to lose weight, and so I started getting into the gym then, but I didn't understand nutrition at all. So my idea was, as long as I didn't eat more than 1,200 calories a day, I could eat cereal and chips and cookies and all that stuff, and I could enjoy all of those things as long as I didn't exceed 1,200 calories. And what always happened is I would end up getting the weight back. So I would be so hungry all the time that I would end up binge eating. I remember I told my mom I wanted to try keto because I didn't know what I was doing, and she ended up telling Dr. Michelle about it, and I remember her bringing me home those paleo bars. And so I still have a picture where I taken them, I documented my very first day of dieting and exercising, and I'd snapped a picture, and there's veggie straws and their paleo bars that they sent my mom with. So that's when I first met her. And then, so in July, around July 4th is the day that we decided to give it 100%. And I decided I'm gonna give him 100% for a month. And if this works, I'm gonna stick to it forever. And sure enough, he didn't steer us wrong, so it worked.
Very true. Definitely worked, absolutely.
I was struggling with depression pretty bad, and now it's completely leveled out. So I have a lot more highs than I do lows. So everybody has a bad day, but it's, maybe once a week, once a month now at this point. So I also notice I'm not nearly as tired. I don't take naps at all anymore. I used to drink, this is hard for me to admit, I used to drink 3 to 5 energy drinks a day. So that's how I would get through the day on top of the naps that I would take. So I could drink an energy drink and then 10 minutes later take a nap. So the caffeine never worked. And so now I'm down to 1, maybe 2 little 8-ounce cups of coffee, and maybe a glass of tea max per day for caffeine. I got off of my medication for my lupus stuff probably, I think, August. I decided to stop taking it and experiment and see if I still felt better. And sure enough, none of the symptoms returned. So it was all diet and exercise. I function better cognitively. I learn a lot easier. I retain information better. I'm much more organized. It's changed my spiritual life as well. I've been more, actually reading and studying the Bible now, and they just kind of built that foundation, and all the blocks kind of landed in place on top.
She's been honestly killing it quite a bit in the gym. She definitely inspires me to try to do more. And not that it's about outperforming anybody at all, but that's honestly, I almost start to think that way whenever I see her just, slamming out tons of exercises to work out at the gym. It's kind of cool to see. But.
So I didn't realize that my diet had caused all this. I was one of those people that thought you had to be born with it. You couldn't get rid of it. It was a forever thing. So that's what I was convinced of. I didn't, realize that I had done that to myself. And so when I helped that friend understand that there was a way to reverse it and back out of it, then she seemed to be really interested in, give it a shot. Go and at least listen to the webinar. Go to your first consultation and just talk to him and tell him what's going on. One of the things I hear is, well, I don't know if I'm financially ready. And I explained it, that it's a really good investment for your health. And, for example, with us, when we got our health on track, our finances, everything else started getting better.